Good afternoon, everybody. What's going on, everybody? Thursday, February 6th, 2025. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live. We got so much fun stuff planned for today. Lefties are losing it. They're losing it left and right, and they don't know which way is up. And all I got to say is, this is not getting less fun. This is not getting less fun. I would have thought, after 2 weeks of watching people go absolutely apoplectic, it would have got tiring by now. But it just isn't. It just isn't getting tiring. Absolutely hilarious as Donald Trump lays down the hammer on the Olympics. Says if you let men compete with women, you will not be having the Olympics in LA in 2028. Awesome. I got no issue there. No issue whatsoever. Also, it turns out, interestingly enough, some organization is very, very upset with Donald Trump's proposed plans for Gaza. You're never going to guess who it is. And what I think is really funny is they think we care what they have to say. Also, more than 40,000 employees have taken the buyout option. To leave the federal government with 5 months' pay, which, seems to make a whole bunch of sense to me. Also, I'm going to say a sentence that I don't like to say very often. But every once in a while it happens. And when it does, I'm not totally comfortable with it. You guys ready? I agree with Bernie Sanders. What? Stay tuned for the end of the show for that one. Guys, as we are rocking, as we are rolling here, hit that thumbs up button wherever you may be watching. Once again, if you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor. Boom, hit that notification bell. I really do appreciate it. If you are watching on Facebook, do me a favor and hit that @ button. Tag your followers so that they can watch the show as well. Wendy, how are you? Jeanette, how are you? Let's dive into the big Rumble chat. Natalie, hello. Demonic Angel, hello. That name seems new. So does Fresno Racer. Hello, Caps, what's going on? Vintage Little Gal, what's happening? Joe Civis, how are you? Civics, whatever. Arrow Pink, how are you? Everybody's doing well. Everybody's doing good. Let's dive right on in. Because yesterday we covered the press conference, the White House press briefing, which we will be doing routinely on this show whenever there is a White House press briefing. You guys seem to like it. Carolyn always does a great job, so we want to make sure we bring you guys that when it happens. We want to make sure that we bring you guys that at all times. It seems like Carolyn Levitt's going to be doing those at 1 p.m. for the foreseeable future. So when there is a press briefing, we will give you that. MD USMC 77 says, "Hey Kevin, I rarely watch. Give me a good reason to keep watching." Is that MD Norton in the chat? Is that MD Norton being silly in the chat? I think it is. So much stuff we wanted to cover yesterday because this USAID thing every day, it seems like every minute, more stories break about this ridiculous organization, about how the money was getting funneled, about how all entities in our government, whether it's USAID, whether it's the Department of Agriculture, whether it is Health and Human Services, they all seem to be taking out absurd amounts of subscriptions with places like Politico and the New York Times. Now, this is the perfect way to launder money to news organizations that do your bidding. But Kevin, how do they do that? I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to pull up timcast.com. timcast.com, a show that I'm very much a fan of. I want to be clear. to show you exactly how this works. Now, Tim went over this on his show, so I'm not like telling any tales out of school here. I'm not criticizing anyone, I'm just saying. This is just one example of it. Do you see how when you sign up for Timcast, you can become a member right there for $10 a month? That is what people traditionally do. But at the very bottom, there are absurd monthly subscriptions. Now, the old ad, now, and I trust a guy like Tim Pool, so I know this sort of thing isn't happening. Do you see that $1,000 a month? It's the old, if you don't ask, you can't get it. Tim has already said that nobody subscribes at that rate. But places like Politico, places like the New York Times have those sorts of rates. This way, if the government wanted to funnel money to them, all they would have to do is become a $1,000 a month daily, a $1,000 a month monthly donor to that organization. Hey, we're just paying for subscriptions. Every one of our employees has a separate subscription to places like Politico, to places like the New York Times. That is the way money ends up getting funneled. It's quite easy, actually. And then you wonder why you get curious headlines. You wonder why places like Politico found a way, you ready for this? To break the Russia hoax 3 hours after it came out, after it was announced, after the government had it. Suddenly, they had all the information. Did they just have subscriptions, or did they have backdoor access to things in the government? Did they have people on the inside doing their bidding? These are things, I want to be clear, we're probably never going to find out. But for a long time, many people have always said, Kevin, how the hell does the New York Times even still exist? And I say, I have no idea. It's not cheap to run a news outlet. Doesn't matter the size, doesn't matter how big, doesn't matter how small. It's not cheap to do. You got to pay people. You got to pay, even if we trusted the New York Times, you got to pay people to go to, hold on, I got to make sure I stop my show directly in the middle and say hello to Joe, because if I don't, he's going to call me 6 times. Hi, Joe. You got to make sure you got to have the money and the funds to pay people to go all over the world. That's not cheap. But it is much easier when the government is basically subsidizing it. Now, they'll say they just bought subscriptions, but call it what you want. I don't think and look, if the government wants to have subscriptions to the New York Times, they should have one. That would be like you. That would be like you in your private home. You and your private home, you, your wife, your son, your daughter, and your mother-in-law that lives upstairs all have their own Netflix subscription. You could save money just by keeping one. And if you're watching this right now and you're pretending that you and your sister and your brother and your father and your stepmother all don't use the same Netflix subscription, you're lying. Since I know no one from Netflix is watching, I can openly admit that I've been using my sister's login for like 4 years now. No shame in my game. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. And if you're not doing it, why aren't you doing it? Let's be honest here. Everybody does it. Chat, let me know if you do it too. Chat, do you do it too? You guys all got your own Amazon Prime accounts? You guys, or do you just use somebody else's password? Hit that thumbs up button. We're going to keep rocking. We're going to keep rolling today because the same people whom seem to benefit from this government malfeasance are the exact people losing their ever-loving mind over it. Of course, naturally, we have to go to the ladies of the squad to find the dumbest possible amount of content on this. Should we go with the one loyal to Somalia, or should we go with Congresswoman Milk Dud? Let's see. Which one do we think? Let's go Congresswoman Milk Dud.
Agitating. We will see you in the courts, in Congress, in the streets. Elon Musk is a Nazi nutball baby. a godless, lawless billionaire who no one elected. Elon, this is the American people. This is not your trashy Cybertruck that you can just dismantle, pick apart, and sell the pieces of. And I want to say,
I don't care what you want to say. First off, Congresswoman Milk Dud, I want to be very clear. We did vote for this. We absolutely voted for this. Everyone watching this right now voted for this. The only thing is, I don't know if any of us expected it to be this good. I don't know if anyone in their wildest imaginations, when they went out on November 5th and they voted for Donald Trump because they knew that Elon Musk was going to come in with Doge and cut government spending. I don't think be honest, don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Did anyone think it was going to be this awesome, this quickly? I mean, holy crap. I thought we were going to get some cuts. Chat, let me see what you think about this. Did anyone think this was going to happen this quickly? And did you think it was going to be this awesome? Look, I'm not going to lie to you. I did not think it was going to happen this quickly. I really didn't. The levers of government tend to move incredibly slowly. Incredibly slowly. But speeding up. But it is speeding up rapidly. Why? Because it turns out the government is filled with non-bureaucrats. The government is filled with business people who get things done in the moment because time is money. And people, all the right people, are losing their minds over this. And Democrats have not yet figured out that it turns out if you really want USAID and gay comic books in Peru, and transgender operas in Ireland. If that's the hill you want to die on, feel free. Feel free. Because admittedly, most people had never heard of USAID up until about a week ago. But Kevin, it's only 0.7% of the federal budget. That's not the point. The point is, why in the sweet hell are we spending $20 million to fund Sesame Street in Iraq? First off, I'm fairly certain that we can't even have Sesame Street in Iraq because, Bert and Ernie are clearly more than friends. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I got a lot of male friends. I don't take a bath with any of them. I'm just saying. Just saying. So how could we even have Sesame Street in Iraq? Is my question. Maybe they cut that part out. Lauren's right. Just wait till we find out everything else. USAID is going to feel like small in comparison. Absolutely. Absolutely. They started with the smallest one first. Just think, every year we get Rand Paul's Festivus report about government waste. We get it every year, and we laugh about it, and we giggle. Ha, 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 ha. We fund we fund health studies to find out whether or not drunk squirrels run faster on tequila or gin. And, it's ridiculous, but it gives us a good laugh. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Naturally, someone else is very upset about this, and that would be the person who benefited the most from this. Here is Congresswoman, I'm loyal to another country.
USAID move, and they don't want to help the Ilhan Omars or their families. They want to help their own families. Can you explain to those people why you think they should be interested in helping families like yours?
Well, I think what is really important for the American people to understand is that this money really amounts to less than 1% of what our budget is as a country. It is money that...
We're going to keep playing this clip, but guys, I want you to take note of something, and I don't know why she does this. Every time she talks, at the end of her sentence, she raises her voice. Pay attention to this. It's very, very odd.
Goes to the most vulnerable around the world. It is already appropriated, and it can't be reappropriated. And so what we are seeing right now is Elon Musk, a billionaire who is attempting to take away resources from the poorest people around the world. This is someone who is not a government official. He wasn't elected. He's not appointed. He holds foreign debt and foreign interests. And so we should all look at this with cautious eyes and with curiosity to understand why he is making these decisions and why he's being allowed to make these decisions. I also want to remind people, yes, this agency was created with an executive order from John F. K., but it was also congressionally appropriated.
Oh, John F. K. Who is John F. K.? Maybe take an American history class.
1998. And so there is no authority that rests within the executive that allows them to sidestep the congressional power that we have to create these agencies and to allocate resources.
Of course, she never answered the question about why it is we should be funding crap all over the world when Americans have a difficult time feeding their families, when 250,000 people will go to sleep on the street tonight in Los Angeles, when hurricane victims in North Carolina are still living in tents in the middle of the winter, when Kensington in Philadelphia is still basically, it's not even third world, it's post-apocalyptic, when every day your dollar gets less and less valuable because of this ridiculous spending. And yeah, it is less than 1%. However, you know what, that's for the next 4 minutes, that's what I'm going to do. For the next 4 minutes, I'm just going to talk exactly like Ilhan Omar. And every time I get to the end of a sentence, I'm going to enunciate my voice. And let's just see how annoying that gets. What the hell is that? Who does that? I bet you can never unhear it now. You're welcome. I ruined your day. Guys, hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place as we are getting cuts left and right, and I'm loving every single bit of it. But Kevin, why are you loving it? Because institutions in this country are way too big. Yes, there are some that need to grow, and there are some that need to shrink. We're going to get into more of that in just 1 second. Before we do, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD, that's MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD for up to 80% for their mega sale. Yeah, look, guys, Mike Lindell's been a long-time supporter of this show. We appreciate it when you guys support patriots like Mike Lindell by going to MyPillow.com and make sure you use promo code LOUD. Promo code LOUD. So, Donald Trump put buyouts to all of the federal workers over the course of the last several weeks. Some of you may have heard of this in a left-wing talking point that Donald Trump is trying to get rid of air traffic controllers right after a tragedy, which is, of course, not true. But more than 40,000 government employees have taken the buyout. Today is the last day for them to do so. What does this, first off, I want to be clear. I'm sure most of the people, and this is not like a dig on government employees, this is a dig at working in general, but I'm sure if most people had their boss come to them and say, hey, we're going to give you 6 months pay, you stay home, give you time to look for another job, I think most people would probably take it. Spend a month in Europe or whatever, just looking around, doing whatever the hell it is you're doing, maybe save the money. But 40,000 government employees have left, which means we probably didn't need them in the first place. Or there's 40,000 people so unhappy with their job that they couldn't wait to get the hell out. Millions of U.S. government workers face a Thursday deadline to tell the Trump administration whether they want to accept the buyout offer or remain in their jobs, but still face the possibility of being thrown out if they decide to stay. This from Newsmax. Donald Trump's aggressive drive to reduce the size of the federal government in a matter of weeks is unprecedented. It has caused turmoil at the Capitol and sparked protests and union warnings. Ooh, union warnings. Oh no, what are we going to do? Maybe all those fat asses inside of the union hall might have to get out from behind a desk. I know you're there because you all have flat feet, or if you're at the teachers union, it's because you can't read. But some of you might have to do some stuff. It's going to be a rough day out there for those unions, let me tell you guys. Rough day. You know, there might have to be one person digging the hole and only 6 people watching instead of the normal 12. More than 40,000 federal employees have accepted the buyout offer as of Wednesday night, according to a source. It's not clear how many of the federal government's 2.3 million civilian employees will ultimately take the buyout, which promises them their salaries until October if they resign. Others are fighting the proposal in court. You can fight it in court all you want. Union representatives, go figure, of federal workers sued to block the deferred resignation program. Now, wait a minute. Hold on. Why would the unions fight to have their employees paid for 6 months without having to go to work? Oh, that's right. That's right. Because afterwards, when they leave, all those union dues won't go into the coffers of guys who live on Staten Island. Right. See, guys, it's not about the workers. It's about the bosses. Like every other communist entity. Yeah, I said it. I'll say it again. I almost got my ass kicked for saying that in a union hall like 10 years ago. But, you know, hey. Doesn't make it not true. The buyout encompasses not only employees at domestic agencies like the Department of Labor that have traditionally drawn the ire of Trump Republicans, but intelligence agencies at the CIA. Good. More cuts are likely. One source in the Office of Personnel Management said officials upped their demand for layoffs of Wednesday from 30 to 70%. Look, I want to make something very clear. If you are a federal employee and you are offered this buyout and you do not take it, and then your job gets cut a month from now, I do not feel bad for you. Do you know why? Because you were told this was going to happen. They said they were going to do it, and you were like, they'll never do it. And they're going, no, guys, we're doing it. And I think that is really the crux of the first couple of weeks of the Donald Trump administration. And I think that's why people, particularly in Washington, D.C., and in the mainstream media, are going so apoplectic about everything Donald Trump is doing, because this is the first time ever that someone elected president or governor or congressman actually did what they told their voters they were going to do. And I think people don't really know how to handle it. I think they just can't handle it. You're like, wait a minute. You mean he's really deporting people? Yeah. He told you he was going to. Wait, you mean he's going to put Elon Musk in charge of a new department to start making gigantic cuts into our wasteful federal government? He told you he was going to do this. We voted for it. Here has been, if you've been on X at all in the last 2 weeks, here has been, or if you've watched Left Wing Podcast, here has been the traditional Democratic sentence, because I watch a lot of left-wing shows. I watch them so you don't have to. They'll go, no one voted for this. And then they'll look at their Republican guest, and he'll say, yeah, I did vote for this. And then the Democratic host will go, no, you didn't. But Elon Musk is going to have access to all of your Social Security numbers. Okay. Elon Musk has $500 billion. Is anybody out there genuinely concerned that what, Elon Musk is going to open a credit card in your name and run up your debt? What? But Democrats live in the abstract. They don't live in the real. Which is why so many people can't really seem to handle what Donald Trump did yesterday. Before we get to that, guys, hit the thumbs up button, share the video out all over the place. We've had big numbers across all of the platforms, excuse me, in the last couple of days. Look, I don't know. I have no proof of this, and I certainly don't trust Mark Zuckerberg, but it certainly would seem as though when he went on Joe Rogan and said that he had he wanted to actually move free speech forward, that changes are happening. I've been seeing huge numbers in my Instagram, huge numbers in my Facebook. So you look, I know a lot of you have left those platforms, but if you're still on there, make sure you give us a follow, give me a follow. We like to have a lot of fun on those platforms. Before we move on to what Donald Trump did yesterday, guys, hit that thumbs up button, share the video out all over the place. And guys, also head on over to LFATV.us. That's LFATV.us. That is your home base, your mothership, your landing pad for all things LFATV related. Check out the LFATV store. That is the best way to support this network and everything we've got going on over here. There is so much happening in the news all day long, and make sure over at LFA TV, that is your place to get everything you need. Everything you need. Go to LFATV.us. It's LFATV.us. So yesterday, Donald Trump did something unbelievable. He did something radical. And he made people go apoplectic about it. What he said was, if you have a dick, you can't play in women's sports anymore. This was really, I don't know where he came up with such a radical idea. He was like, I got it. Okay, here we go. If you've got a brajo, you play over here. No brajo, you're over here. So what we're going to do is, we're going to take the world back to the way it was like 6 years ago. There was all of human history. Then there was like the last 5 years of nonsense. And we're just cutting that part out and going back to the way things were. But Democrats, they can't seem to handle it. You know why? Because they've gone so radical that they actually opened Donald Trump up for incredible photo ops like this one.
You know, if you'd like to gather around me, I think I'm going to be okay. Come on. Come on. Hello. Secret Service is worried about them? If we have to worry about them, we have big problems. Okay, do you want to do this? Watch what I do, and then I'm going to give you some pens, okay? Are you ready? What a nice picture this is, huh, Governor? You ready? We'll do a good job. Wait, let me press that. I want to make this a really good signature, because this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
Oh, what an evil man. What an evil man. Come on. That's the guy that they're trying to compare to Hitler. Are you kidding me? See, here's what Democrats have done. What Democrats have done for the last, 10 years is they have blown everything out of proportion. Fascism, racist, Hitler. Hitler's everywhere. Hitler's under your bed. Hitler's in your cabinets. Hitler's waiting for you when you get out of the shower. Hitler, everywhere. And it turns out that 10 years worth of the boy crying wolf makes people not really trust you. This is, I can't describe how obvious this would be to any normal person, but Democrats seem not to get it. They seem not to grasp this, and that's why they're going to continue to lose. Now, on the topic of men and women's sports, when asked about it, Carolyn Levitt said that if the International Olympic Committee doesn't join reality and say that men can't compete in women's Olympic sports, then they will not get to come to America for the Olympics.
Questions for you on the news of the day. So, how is today's executive order going to impact the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles? For example, would a man who thinks that he's a transgender woman be allowed to compete?
Also, shout out to 3 friends of mine, all the way to the right. You got Brian Glenn standing by the door, Monica Page, Daniel Baldwin. All 3 of those guys went from the back row in the Biden administration to now in the second row in the Trump administration. Shout out to 3 great people, Brian, Monica, and Dan there.
As a female on U.S. soil?
It's a very good question, and the president has actually mentioned this, that he does expect the Olympic Committee and the NCAA to no longer allow men to compete in women's sports. And I think the president, with the signing of his pen, starts a very public pressure campaign on these organizations to do the right thing for women and for girls across the country. Again, this is an incredibly popular position. There have been many notable female athletes who have had the courage to speak out against some very powerful institutions in this country. They deserve to have a voice and a say. The president is bringing their voice to the highest level at the White House this afternoon, and he expects these organizations to comply with this federal executive order that he'll be signing today.
How could he do this? Well, he told you he was going to do it. He told you he was going to do it. But Democrat, oh no. The sky is falling, everyone. America will end. It will be over unless men get to compete in women's sports. Now, with that being said, some things that are actually dangerous, some things that are, how would you say this? Terrorist-ish, those things will have no bearing on anyone's lives. Democrats can ignore that totally. Like, I don't know, let's say a gaggle of Hamas supporters were protesting outside of the White House. Nothing terrifying about that. Nothing terrifying about that. Of course, as this comes, as Benjamin Netanyahu spoke at the White House yesterday. As Benjamin Netanyahu spoke at the White House the other day, and Donald Trump said he was going to take over Gaza. which is hilarious to me. Some people are very upset about this, and I've said it before, and I don't actually think it's going to happen. I don't actually think it's going to happen. But one group of people, you ready for this, who are very upset that this may be happening. We didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday because this is one of the funniest things I think I've ever read in my entire life. Some organization called Donald Trump's plan to take over Gaza irresponsible. Oh, what the hell are we doing here? Oh, sorry, Fox is running an ad. One organization called Donald Trump's plan absurd and irresponsible. And that would be Hamas. Okay, so Hamas, the terrorist group, said that Donald Trump is being slightly irresponsible. Where do you get the balls? This is one of the funniest stories I've ever read. The jihadist terrorist organization, this is from Breitbart, has reacted with outrage to Donald Trump's unprecedented proposal on Tuesday for the United States to seize the Gaza Strip and turn it into a global resort destination, calling Trump irresponsible. So let me get this straight. The gaggle of 8th century goat herders who fight in flip-flops are calling Donald Trump irresponsible. Okay, Hamas, the genocidal radical Islamic terror group backed by Iran, whose objective is to kill every Jew and every American on planet Earth, they have said that Donald Trump's plan to take over Gaza is irresponsible and absurd. I mean, pot, meat kettle. What? Hamas, the terrorist group which torture, rapes, abducts, and decapitates the corpses of their victims, the vast majority of them civilians. I don't know. I would say it's absurd and irresponsible to go, I don't know, door to door in a kibbutz cutting people's heads off. I would say that's kind of irresponsible. But Donald Trump saying he wants to put up a casino in Gaza, a place that doesn't allow gambling, which I think is hilarious, which I think is genuinely hilarious, have called him irresponsible and absurd. Trump insisted on Wednesday that Hamas was, Hamas insisted on Wednesday was irresponsible on Iranian press TV. I mean, sometimes things happen in the news that are like so insane that sometimes it's difficult for me to even fully grasp what's going on. When I read this story, I had to read the headline like 7 or 8 times because I just couldn't. I was having a difficult time going, wait, hold on a minute here. Hold on. Hamas says Trump is irresponsible. What the hell are we doing? There was also some news out of that press conference, or just before the press conference, which just shows you how hilarious Donald Trump is. Shows you he's got to be one of the funniest people on planet Earth. Peter Doocy of Fox News. Peter Doocy of Fox News asked Donald Trump what he would do if Iran tried to assassinate him. Now, first off, Peter Doocy, if Iran assassinated Donald Trump, there's really nothing he can do because he's been assassinated. But Donald Trump had an answer for that.
It's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani.
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do, not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That'd be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why, lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran. So I'm signing.
And look, I would not deign to speak for the President of the United States. But I've got a feeling, woo, I've got a feeling I know what those instructions might say. I think there's a letter in a desk somewhere that says, JD, if I'm dead, bomb the shit out of them. See if you can fit a cruise missile up someone's ass. I don't think that letter exists. I think Trump is being Trump here. He probably did give JD instructions. I'm sure they've talked about it, what he would want his plans to be. God forbid something happens. But oh God, I hope that letter exists. I hope it's in the presidential archives somewhere. I hope we get to read it later on. It'll be absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Guys, we are going to keep rocking and rolling here because there is, like I said, there's so much stuff that's happened over the last couple of days that I haven't really gotten to get to because of how Hazel Kitty, that gold statue, is actually a replica of the World Cup. It is a replica of the World Cup because the World Cup will be in America next year, which I know none of you care about except for me. If you guys want to have fun, go into Sean's chat tomorrow and just, guys, do me a favor, please, all right? Everybody that watches all the LFA shows, okay? All the Loud Majority members who also watch Sean. Go into Sean's chat and just tell him how excited you are about the World Cup. Tell him how excited you are about the World Cup. Because if there's one thing Sean hates more than feet, it's soccer. And we will all sit back and watch together as he loses his collective mind, and we'll giggle about it. Do that for me, please. We got some soccer fans here. Coffin McGroin's going to do it. I like it. Let's see. A few people aren't doing it. A few people are going to do it. Yeah, I'm not asking you guys to care about the World Cup. I'm asking you guys to mess with Sean. It's going to be a good one. Thank you, everybody. It's going to be a good time. Just keep saying it till he mentions it. One more funny thing that came out of that press conference, and you guys know how much we like to laugh on this show. There was a journalist from Afghanistan who asked Trump a question. And, look, it's just funny. This is just funny.
Go ahead.
Afghan suffering women as a high expectation from you. Do you have any plan to change Afghanistan situation? Are you able to recognize Taliban? Because I'm an Afghan journalist, Afghan suffered woman. Any comment about Afghanistan? What's your future plan for Afghan people, especially Afghanistan?
I have a little hard time understanding you. Where are you from? Oh. Actually, it's a beautiful voice and a beautiful accent. The only problem is I can't understand a word you're saying. But I just say this, good luck, live in peace. Go ahead, please. That's okay, yeah, please.
How could anyone not love this guy? How could anybody not love this? I don't understand a word you're saying, lady. You got a beautiful voice, but I just don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know what that... It's so funny, man. It's so funny. But things are moving in such a rapid pace that honestly, I don't know how anybody keeps... I'm in the news business, and sometimes I have a hard time keeping up. As a matter of fact, I'm sure that many of you might have missed this today. It turns out the first planes full of illegal immigrants have landed at Guantanamo Bay. Before we get to that, because I do want to get to that story at the end, where I'm going to agree with Bernie Sanders. I'm not comfortable about it, but I think it's necessary to let you guys know when I believe in something, and I think that Bernie Sanders is putting forth something that is actually going to be incredibly valuable for everyone on Earth. Guys, hit the thumbs up button, share the video out all over the place. Head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. Wait a minute, hold on. Are there new shirts on the website right now? Is that what you're telling me? Someone put a new shirt on the website before this damn show started? What do we got here? Ho, the Doge Father. Let's go. I'm getting one of these as soon as this damn show ends. The Doge Father. I'm liking it. By the way, in case anyone's curious, those are actually my forearms in the picture. Let's see. There's some more new stuff on there. There's some more new stuff on there. Oh, there's the Doge hat. Whoever keeps making this stuff, they're really on top of their game. They're really on top of their game. Oh, yeah, check that out, but check that bad boy out. Grab your Doge hat today. Look at that. Guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com and pick up that good stuff today, guys. Go to loudmajorityusa.com. Also, guys, once again, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. Share it out, share it out, share it out. Like I said, we're getting big numbers across every platform over the last couple of days, and I'm really, really liking it. So I want to thank you guys all for the support. I want to thank everybody who has been I want to thank everybody who has always supported the show. Always supported the show. So let's see. People are asking about me, and thanks for everyone for letting me know who Sean is. Yeah, Sean's my buddy. Sean's my buddy. Break his balls tomorrow at 10 a.m. So, where the hell was I? Oh yeah, some of you might have missed the fact that the first planes full of illegal immigrants have arrived in Guantanamo Bay. Check this out. I mean, think about that. A couple of days ago, they were in the good old US of A, breaking our laws and raping our women. And now they're in the same place where we keep terrorists, where people get waterboarded. Wow. That's a shame, isn't it? That is a real damn shame. Well, shouldn't have broke our laws, bro. Shouldn't have broke our laws. But all things come to a head. All things come to a head in this country. Things are being flipped on their noggin, and I'm liking every single minute of it. I'm liking every minute of it. You know why? Because this is what we were promised. Promises made, promises kept, and the lefties are losing their ever-loving minds over it. One more thing that I have no doubt that lefties will be losing their mind over the course of the next couple of days will be the fact that Pam Bondi has every single intention of releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files. Here was Pam Bondi a couple of months ago on Sean Hannity.
Well, we know he was on the plane, not only on the plane a couple times, multiple times. He traveled internationally with Jeffrey Epstein, and he was on the plane called the Lolita Express because it supposedly had a bed in there where Jeffrey Epstein had young girls. He has been a friend of his, a continuing friend of his for years and years. Contrast that with Donald Trump, who hasn't spoken to him in many years, over a decade, after he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for bad behavior. So that's the difference there. And I think Americans see the two-tier justice system. But, you know, we don't know. They're saying Clinton has not been to his private island, but he has traveled all over the world with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know why AG Garland and the Justice Department are so quiet on this tonight. You know, they're out there labeling parents domestic terrorists, yet they're saying nothing about this. And these documents were so slow to come out. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business in this country, and Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years where she belongs. And if people in that report are still fighting to keep their names private, Sean, they have no legal basis to do so unless they're a child, a victim, or a cooperating defendant by some chance against some potential case against Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think Mark Garagos, as a great criminal defense attorney, will back that up as well.
Firstly, and I want to make sure I get this out of the way right off the bat, I have no idea how Pam Bondi is almost twice my age, but looks half my age. Maybe I should start aging less. Just something I should probably try to work on. But Donald Trump, we're getting reports now, has ordered her to release the list. Do it. Make it public. We need more of it. We absolutely need all of it out there. I can't wait for that list to be released. It needs to happen sooner rather than later. So, are you guys ready to hear why I agree with Bernie Sanders in a statement that I'm not very comfortable with? I'll say it once we cross 300 rumbles. We are at 292 right now. If we get over 300, I will begin that story. So, guys, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button wherever you're watching, share the video out all over the place. We are like, oh damn it, why did that happen again? We are like 550 subscribers away from. We're like 550 subscribers away from 100,000, and I want 100,000. So, guys, tell your friends, share it out. Let's go, giddy up. So, let's see. We just hit the 300 mark. I'm liking it. So, Josh Hawley and Bernie Sanders have come together on a bill and proposed capping credit card interest rates at 10%. This is a game changer for the American people. Now, I want to be clear before I get into this story. This does, if I'm being honest, this sort of goes against my laissez-faire free market economic principles. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And I want to make something else very clear. If the government were to cap interest rates on credit cards at 10%, yes, there would be a lot of people who would not get credit cards. They would not get credit levels. Absolutely, they would not. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because I'm sorry, and I want to make this clear, and some people aren't going to like this because it does go against what the traditional Republican version of economics says. But if you have a FICO score of 430, you probably aren't good enough with money to be able to handle a credit card. Moreover, credit card debt, and I mean this in quite literally the sense in which I'm saying it, word for word, credit card debt is more dangerous to the average American than heroin. Because most people will say no thank you to the heroin. Almost nobody says no to the credit card debt. And I am sick and tired. And look, is it American spending habits? 1,000%. Stay off Temu, okay? You don't need anything on Temu. Stop going to Hobby Lobby. You don't need Home Goods. Home Goods is an entire store full of shit you don't need. It does come down to American spending habits. But there are so many people in this country, and I'm not going to ask who because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but there are so many people in this country who are basically working to pay Visa. They are slaves to MasterCard. They are indentured servants to American Express. They will live the rest of their lives just paying off the interest on credit cards. And I'm not saying Visa and MasterCard and Discover and American Express, I'm not saying they can't make money. You lend out money, you ought to make money. I got no problem with that at all. No problem whatsoever. However, In much the same way, you wouldn't force a beer on an alcoholic or break out a line of cocaine in front of an addict. These credit card companies are pushing more. You guys get them in the mail. You guys get these credit card applications in the mail for Macy's and Victoria's Secret and Best Buy. And there's a credit card for every company out there. And all it does is bog Americans down in debt. American debt to credit card companies is now more than $1 trillion. That is more than the total debt of all but 9 countries on the planet. Americans owe to Visa and MasterCard. I think it's Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover are the big ones. I have no problem with what Bernie Sanders is doing here, teaming up with Josh Hawley. And it goes against my free market principles. But you know what? For the good of the American people, this is something. This is something that needs to happen. Senator Hawley and Senator Sanders introduced legislation that would cap interest rates at 10% immediately upon the bill's enactment into law. The cap would then remain in effect for 5 years. During the campaign, Donald Trump pledged to cap credit card interest rates at 10%, Sanders said in a statement. Today, I am proud to introduce bipartisan legislation with Senator Hawley that would do just that. When large financial institutions charge over 25% for credit cards, they are not engaging in the business of making credit available. They are engaging in extortion, and we cannot continue to allow big banks to make big profits ripping off the American people. Now, obviously, Bernie Sanders is going to hate the fact that banks are even existing at all. But my bigger issue is that some of these companies, man, they're out the. There's no way to say this. They're just raping you. They're raping you, and you will be forever a slave to Visa. So I want to thank Senator Sanders for doing something that makes a little bit of sense. Partnering with Josh Hawley, I wish he would do it a little bit more often. But you know, you can only hope so much in this game. You can only hope so much, guys. I know I've run over time. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm going to close you out with something absolutely hilarious. Nancy Mace continues to be an absolute savage in Congress. She's quickly becoming one of my favorite members of Congress. I got to be honest. Now that Congressman Gates isn't there. Now that Lee Zeldin isn't there, I got to find a new favorite, and I think it's going to be Nancy Mace. Guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com, sign up for the newsletter, check out the new Doge gear. I'm liking it, guys. I'll catch you back live tomorrow. Here's Nancy Mace just having fun. Until tomorrow, everybody, stay loud.
The gentlelady has used a phrase that is considered a slur in the LGBTQ community and the transgender community. And let me please finish without interruption. And
Tranny. I don't really care. You want penises in women's bathrooms, and I'm not going to have it.
okay.